This is action here for Sunday, October 23rd. Tony T with our NFL Pick Show here for Sunday action. We have all 12 games. Before we get into just a couple things, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Free NFL picks are updated all season long. Free picks every day from all the major sports. We also have college football. We have MLB, NBA, European football, NHL, a whole lot more. It's a good time to subscribe. And also, if you would support our channel with a thumbs up, we greatly appreciate it. Then visit Tony'sPicks.com, or a multi-capper site showcasing top cappers in our industry. Click the link to the hot cappers to get signed up to long-term passes. Hot cappers like Ramon Scott, who's been on fire. Nick has been hot. We've got Hollywood Sam. Brandon came in with a fantastic day yesterday. And look at this year. We got click the link to the hot cappers to get signed up to a long-term pass. You'll see the featured picture in the center of the page. And, of course, you will see our best bets. Each capper can release one best bet per sport per day. See, many of them have them up there as well. $15 pick. Each capper can designate one of their picks from their card as a $15 premium pick, really just to showcase their service to their customers. And also, the 3-packs, very popular feature there. Check them out right there. Of course, all the individual plays, one-day passes are sold as credit as a profit guarantee. Must turn a profit, or the amount you purchase is credited back into your account. First side credits, that's profit guarantee. Also, our promo code, you can save 20% off all premium pick packages. When you use that promo code TonyT at checkout, you can access our page by clicking the link over in the description. Click the All Cappers tab and get signed up. Also, I'd love to hear from you guys, so post your picks in the comments below. And remember our podcast, every pick in podcast form over at Tony's Picks. All right, let's get this one started. Lions and Cowboys NFL pick here for Sunday. Wide receiver Chark out for the Lions with running back Swift and wide receiver Reynolds questionable. On defense, Detroit's without a defensive end and a corner questionable. Dak Prescott returns at quarterback for Dallas. No starters on the injury report here. On the Cowboys side, Detroit returns from the bye with a 1-4 record with their 29-0 road defeat at New England. Lions gained just 312 yards with 101 rushing on 27 carries in defeat. They struggled off defensively against the run, giving up 176 yards on 35 carries. Team was 0-3 inside the red zone and held the Patriots to 0-4. Jared Goff, a season low here, 54% completions, 6.5 yards per attempt. He had no touchdowns and 1 pick on the year. Goff, a veteran low, just 59% completion rate, 7.3 yards per attempt. Average target depth, a 3-year high, though, at 9.1 yards. Now, Dallas are 4-2 after their 26-17 road defeat at Philadelphia. Cowboys posted 315 yards in the game, 134 on the ground on 26 carries. Defense held the Eagles only 268 yards, limiting both the run and pass. Cooper Rush here completed only half his passes and had 3 picks. Dak Prescott on the season so far saw action just a single game, completing 48%, 4.6 yards per pass attempt. That was coming under heavy pressure against Tampa Bay. Lions defense really struggling, giving up 5.5 yards per rush, 7.7 yards per pass attempt. Cowboys defense playing well, and don't trust Goff against top-flight defenses. Force Goff outside the pocket is ineffective. Player will be Dallas at -6.5. Packers Commanders NFL pick Sunday. Wide receiver Randall Cobb out for the Packers. Starters are healthy defensively. For Washington, wide receiver Dodson and right tackle questionable. Tight end Logan Thomas out. Quarterback Carson Wentz out for here, and Taylor Heineke gets the start. Chase Young still out for Washington on defense. Green Bay fell to 3-3 after their 27-10 home defeat to the New York Jets. A season low 278 yards for the Packers with 60 rushing on 20 carries. Green Bay did limit the Jets' passing attack, but allowed 179 rushing yards on 33 carries. Aaron Rodgers, 63% completion rate in the loss, 6 yards per attempt. On the air, Rodgers, 67% completions, and it ties for career low, 6.7 yards per attempt. Sack percentage on Rodgers right now, 6.7%. Washington, 2-4, a 12-7 win at Thursday night at Chicago, a season low, 214 yards offensively, 128 rushing on 28 carries. They just surrendered 391 yards to the Bears with 237 rushing on 37 carries. But Commanders held Chicago 0-3 in the red zone and had a +2 turnover margin. Taylor Heineke saw action in 16 games last year. Remember, with that injury to Ryan Fitzpatrick, Heineke in 2021, 65% completions, 6.9 yards per attempt. He did run for 313 yards with 5.2 yards a carry. Packers have averaged 315 yards or fewer in 3 of 4. Heineke's third season here with Washington. The player will be Washington at +5. Colts and Titans NFL pick Sunday. Indianapolis offensive starters are healthy. On defense, they're without a defensive end and middle linebacker. Titans right guard out with linebacker, receiver here, questionable. On defense, and outside linebacker out. Philadelphia, Indianapolis, I should, is 3-2-1 after their 34-27 home win to Jacksonville. Jaguars gained 434 yards offensively on 45 rushes on 16 carries, as both backs were injured, so not much on the running game. Defensively, the Colts did limit the pass, but allowed 243 rushing yards on 33 carries. Matt Ryan completed 72% of his passes, 389 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 6.7 yards per attempt. Against the Titans in Week 4, Ryan 73% completions, 9.6 yards per attempt. Tennessee 3-2 after a 21-17 road win at Washington as they hit their bye week. Titans posted 241 yards with 105 on the ground on 32 attempts. A perfect 3 of 3 inside the red zone. They did limit the Commanders' run game, but surrendered 342 passing yards on 38 attempts. Ryan Tannehill, 60% completion rate, 7.2 yards per attempt. He did complete 81% of his passes, 2 touchdowns, but just 6.5 yards per attempt. And that's in the first meeting there. Tannehill is getting sacked about nearly 9% of the time of his passes. Titans relying heavily on the ground game, averaging 28 rushes on 16 passes a game. The run game generating just 3.7 yards a rush. The Colts passing game really starting to click. The defense is really starting to play a lot better here. The play here will be on Indianapolis at +2.5. Giants, Jaguars, NFL pick Sunday. Giants starting center questionable on defense. A defensive end and linebacker are out. Jags wide receiver Marvin Jones is questionable on defense. They're without a corner and linebacker. No tackle on defensive end are questionable. New York Giants improved to 5-1 after a 24-20 home win to the Baltimore Ravens. They win despite 238 yards of offense, running for 83 on 31 carries. On defense, the Giants allowed 460 yards, 211 on the ground on 24 carries. Daniel Jones, 70% completion rate in the game with 2 touchdowns and only 6.4 yards per attempt. On the year, career high 67% completion rate, but a career low 6.4 yards per attempt. A sack rate of 11% with low average depth per pass of just 6.5 yards. Jacksonville 2-4 after their 34-27 road loss in Indianapolis. Jaguars offense gained just 379 yards, 243 rushing on 33 carries. They limited the Colts' run game, which had both running backs out. Against the pass, the Jags surrendered 389 yards on 58 attempts. Trevor Lawrence, 91% completions in the loss, touchdown, and 7.5 yards per attempt. Jacksonville has lost 3 straight as Lawrence has thrown 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. During this losing streak, the Jaguars not getting pressure on the quarterback, just 1 sack average per game, and allowing 10 fourth quarter points per game. Giants defense has been outstanding on third down play here. New York Giants +3. Buccaneers and Panthers NFL pick Sunday. Receiver Julio Jones and tight end Cameron Brate are out for Tampa Bay. A right guard is questionable. On defense, a corner and defensive end out with a safety questionable. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold out. Receiver Chenault and right tackle questionable. On defense, a tackle out with 2 linebackers and a corner questionable. Boy, that's a lot. Tampa Bay moves to 3-3 with their 20-18 road defeat at Pittsburgh. Buccaneers gained only 304 yards with 75 rushing on 26 carries. Team was just 1 of 4 inside the red zone. Defensively, they limited the run game for the Steelers and allowed 193 passing yards on 30 attempts. Tom Brady completed 62% of his passes with a touchdown and 6.1 yards per attempt. On the year, Brady 67% completions, 6.7 yards per attempt. Carolina drops to 1-5 with their 24-10 road defeat at LA Rams. Panthers a season low 203 yards offensively, 93 rushing on 21 carries. On defense, they limited the Rams' run game and allowed 249 passing yards on 33 attempts. P.J. Walker, 62% completion rates in the loss, a minuscule 3.8 yards per attempt. Average target depth just 2.8 yards per pass. This season, Walker, 68% completions, 5.5 yards per attempt. Of course, the Panthers traded McCaffrey for draft picks, so a loss here with no help coming back in this trade for this season. Panthers struggle to score in this one to play here. Tampa Bay and Carolina under 38 and under 39.5 points. Browns and Ravens NFL pick Sunday. Cleveland guard out on offense. On defense, Clowney questionable and a corner out. Ravens running back Dobbins out. Questionable are receiver Bateman, tight end, and both tackles. On defense, a linebacker and tackle questionable. Cleveland 2-4 after their 38-15 home defeat to New England. It was a season low 328 yards of offense for the Browns, 70 of it on the ground on 18 carries. On defense, they limited the Patriots running attack, but allowed 301 yards passing, and this was to a backup on 34 attempts. Jacoby Brissett, a season low 46.7% completion rate in the loss, 2 interceptions, 5.9 yards per attempt. On the year, Brissett 60% completion, 6.4 yards per attempt. Now Baltimore 3-3 after a 24-20 road defeat at the Giants. Ravens gained 406 yards with 211 rushing on 24 carries. They limited the Giants to just 238 yards. Baltimore just 1-3 inside the red zone. Lamar Jackson, a season low 53% completions in the loss with 6.6 yards per attempt. On the year, Jackson, a veteran low 62% completions, and they tie a career low here with 7.1 yards per attempt. Ravens injuries on offense a concern, but the Browns are running for 5.5 yards a carry. Play here will be Cleveland at +6.5. Falcons and Bengals, NFL pick Sunday. Corral Patterson out for Atlanta. Defense is healthy. Cincinnati's healthy on offense. On defensive tackle and linebacker out. Atlanta sits 3-3 after their 28-14 home win to San Francisco. Falcons gained just 289 yards with 168 rushing on 40 carries. Atlanta held the 49ers ground attack to 50 yards on 16 carries. They did surrender 296 passing yards on 41 attempts. Marcus Mariota, season high 93% completion rate, 9.2 yards per attempt. On the season, Mariota 61% completions, 7.7 yards per attempt. Cincinnati improved to 3-3 after the 30-26 road win at New Orleans. Bengals offense posted 348 yards, 7.5 yards on the ground with 1.5 yards per carry. They did surrender 220 yards passing here. Rushing to the Saints on 34 carries. They held the Saints to 5 yards per attempt in the passing game. Joe Burrow, season high 76% completions, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8.1 yards per rush. Now this season, Browns Burrow this season 66.7% completion rate, 7.1 yards per attempt. Falcons have covered every game this regular season. Atlanta's running for nearly 5 yards a carry, and the Bengals allowing 4.7 yards here per rush. Cincinnati has struggled to run the football. Mariota, with his ability to run, a key here. The play here will be Atlanta +6.5. Jets and Denver Broncos, NFL pick here for Sunday. Jets receiver Morris out. The defense is healthy. Wilson out for the Broncos with the right guard questionable. On defense, their nose tackle, defensive end, and linebacker are questionable. New York improves to 4-2 after their 27-10 road win at Green Bay. Jets moved the football for 278 yards with 179 rushing on 33 carries. Defense limited the Packer ground attack with 218 passing yards on 45 attempts. It was Zach Wilson, 55% completions, season low 6.1 yards per attempt. On the year, Wilson 56% completion rate, 7.6 yards per attempt. Denver's just 2-4 after their 19-16 road defeat on Monday night here to the LA Chargers. Broncos gained only 258 yards, a season low, and 98 on the ground. Brett Rippon will get the start, and the backup has thrown only 2 passes last season in 2020. Rippon 67% completions, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks, and 7.5 yards per attempt in a few games there. Both defenses playing well. Broncos averaging just 15 points a game. That's the big concern there is just the point production on both sides as well. Play here will be New York and Denver under 37. Texans and Raiders, NFL pick Sunday. Houston wide receiver Chris Moore and tight end Brevin Jordan questionable. Defensive end Greenard out. Raiders tight end Waller out with the receivers Renfro and Hollins questionable. On defense and linebacker questionable. Houston comes off the bye. They're 1-3-1 after the 13-6 road win at Jacksonville. Texans a season high 248 yards, 116 rushing on 31 carries. Defensively, they allowed over 5 yards per rush to the Jags. Run game and 286 passing on 47 attempts. Houston held Jacksonville just 0-3 in the red zone and picked off 2 passes. Davis Mills, 66.7% completions in the win, 5.8 yards per a rush here. This season, Mills down from his rookie campaign, 63% completions, 6.3 yards per attempt. Las Vegas returns from a bye week. They're 1-4 after a 30-29 road defeat at Kansas City. Raiders here blew a 17-0 lead in the second quarter. Team ran the ball effectively, 155 yards on 24 carries. They limited KC production on the ground and surrendered 265 passing yards on 43 attempts. But Las Vegas allowed 4 inside the red zone. Derek Carr's 63% completion rate in the loss, 2 touchdowns, 8 yards per pass attempt. This season, Carr, a season low, 61% completion rate, 7 yards per pass attempt. The play here, continue on here. The Raiders have struggled in pass defense this year, giving up 256 yards, 68% completion rate, 7.2 yards per attempt. Las Vegas struggling getting pressure on the quarterback and forcing turnovers on defense. The red zone performance poor for Las Vegas, allowing 82% conversion rate. The play here, Houston +7. Chiefs and 49ers, NFL pick here for Sunday. KC guard is questionable on defense. A corner is out. 49ers offense healthy. McCaffrey slotted as the lead running back. He says he's going to play. On defense, a tackle out with corner and questionable, safety questionable. Kansas City fell to 4-2 after their 24-20 home defeat to the Bills. Chiefs moved the football for 387 yards, 68 of it rushing on 18 carries. On defense, they allowed 4 yards per rush to the Bills, but 318 passing on 40 carries. Patrick Mahomes completed 60% of his passes, a near season low at 62.5%. He did have 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 8.5 yards per attempt. On the year, Mahomes 66% completion rate, 7.6 yards per attempt. Now San Francisco moved to 3-3. They had a 28-24 road defeat at Atlanta. 49ers moved the football for 346 yards, rushing for only 50 on 16 carries. The defense really held the Falcons to 289 yards with 168 rushing on 40 carries. But they did allow 3 of 3 inside the red zone. Jimmy Garoppolo, a season-high 71% completions, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and a season-low 7.2 yards per attempt there in that one. On the year, Garoppolo, 63% completion rate, 7.8 yards per attempt. KC has navigated through a really tougher schedule. No 49ers wins have come against teams with the current winning record. The 2 mobile quarterbacks San Francisco has, and they've seen result in the losses to Atlanta and Chicago. Player will be Kansas City here at -1. Seahawks and Chargers NFL pick for Sunday. Seattle receiver Tyler Lockett questionable, but Pete Carroll came out and expected him to play. Right receiver here, Chargers here. Keenan Allen questionable with the receiver Palmer out. On defense, they have a defensive end questionable. Seattle improved to 3-3 after their 19-9 home win to Arizona. Seahawks gained only 296 yards in the win, 136 of it rushing on 30 carries. Defensively, they limited the Cardinals' passing attack and allowed 144 rushing yards on 28 carries. Seahawks were only 1 of 5 inside the red zone. Geno Smith, 64% completion rate, and season low 6.4 yards per attempt. This year, Smith, 72% completions here, 8 yards per attempt. Now the Chargers 4-2 with their 19-16 home win in overtime Monday night to the Denver Broncos. Chargers a season low 297 yards, 73 of it rushing on 24 carries. Defensively, they held the Broncos to only 279 yards, limiting their run and pass. Justin Herbert, 65% completions in the win with an interception, and season low here with 4.2 yards per attempt. On the year, Herbert, 66% completion rate with career lows here, 6.7 yards per attempt. Chargers have struggled running the football this year, but is allowing 5.6 yards per carry on the ground. Play here, Seattle +5. Steelers and Dolphins NFL pick Sunday. Steelers offense healthy, on defense and corners doubtful. Dolphins receiver Waddle questionable, as both are the starters here on the receiver position. On defense, both defensive ends questionable and a corner questionable. Pittsburgh moved to 2-4 with their 20-18 home win to Tampa Bay. Steelers gained 270 yards in the game, 77 of it running on 29 carries. Steelers limited the Pucks' run game to 3 yards a carry. 229 passing on 40 attempts. Pittsburgh held Tampa Bay to 1 of 4 inside the red zone. Kenny Pickett completed 61% of his passes in the win. Season low, 3.7 yards per attempt on the year. The rookie is completing 66%. Touchdown, 4 picks, 6.2 yards per attempt. Miami 3-3 after their 24-16 home defeat to Minnesota. Dolphins a season high at 458 yards, 73 of it rushing on 20 carries. Tagovailoa returns under center, expected to start coming off that concussion protocol. Tagovailoa career highs here, 69% completions, 9 yards per attempt on the year. Lots of banged up players on both sides, but the play here will be on. Actually, lots of banged up players on both sides of the football here for Miami. The play here will be Pittsburgh plus 7.5. All right, that was our NFL pick show over here for Sunday. Make sure you like, subscribe, set notifications, be notified of our video releases. And, of course, check out our live show here coming up on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. each time. It is the Morning Steam with Ramon and Mitty. Check it out. All right, guys, be sure to check out our channel at TonySpicks.com, YouTube channel, and our website at Tony's Picks for our best bets of the day. I'm Tony.